Alright, what's up everybody? This is Sam from Bet. In this video I'll be doing Bellator 257 predictions and betting strategy. It's nearly the full card. If you're seeing this video from Patreon, I appreciate your support, thank you very much. If you're from YouTube and you have never seen my channel before, I do MMA predictions, I'm a handicapper. I do this for over 9 years, even though only last year I started my YouTube channel. And in this video I'll be doing the Bellator 257 predictions like I said, but before starting guys, just a real quick comment how this video gonna be divided. I'm gonna be showing all the breakdowns, alright? Then I want you the bets that I'm taking. But before starting, if you wish to follow me on Instagram, feel free. In Instagram, I put some bets that I'm taking prior to the videos most of the times. So you guys can see here that I got a bet on Phil Davis, then some extra bets here, Saul Rogers, Grachik Bozinyan, Davis Nemkov over 4.5. It's not the entire betting strategy in the Instagram, but you guys can have a good idea who I'm betting, and in early markets most of the time, so feel free to follow me. So let's go through the cards. Like I said, it's not the full card predictions, but I went through the fights that I think probably they are worth betting. So, and also I decided to upload this before the full card because the card is coming up. So I wanted to make sure that you guys listen my opinion here. All right. So between Damarques Jackson versus Grachik Bozinyan, just give me a second here. All right, between these two guys, Damarques Jackson versus Grachik Bozinyan. Right off the bat, guys, it's not an easy fight to call. I don't have much footage available for me to analyze, to be honest, you know. There are some fights for Jackson, the LFA, I was not able to see all of them. And for Bozinyan, there are some, most of his fights were in Russia, I couldn't find all of the footage. From what I've seen, from my, judging what I've seen, guys, Damarques Jackson is a good wrestler, a good grappler, he's very fast taking the back. But the fight that I watched, he finished the guy quite quickly, and the other fight he was pretty sloppy on the feet. I don't know what happened in this other fight. Basically, he was quite disappointing there. So I don't know if that was an outlier in this case, but I know that he's been in a good camp in Sanford MMA. So I think this guy's tough. I also visited his Instagram. He has lots of pictures with the training, so I'm assuming that he's gonna come at his best here. Like I said, he's a good wrestler, good grappler. Same can be said about Grachik Bozinyan, also stronger Russian sambo background, explosive guy, powerful. So again, judging what I've seen, I think Bozinyan, he used to fight as a middleweight, he's dropping to welterweight, so he's a guy that's gonna have a significant size advantage. You know, it's the power advantage. He's 6 foot taller as Jackson's 5'8" or 5'9". So I'm expecting that Jackson, in the beginning, he's going to try to shoot, probably out-wrestle Bozinyan, because Bozinyan doesn't do his best work from his back. He struggles a little bit with the BJJ. But I think at some point, Bozinyan's going to be able to escape, and his size is going to be the difference. He's going to start landing heavier shots. And I think from top, also, Bozinyan is definitely not afraid to grapple. He's an excellent sambo wrestler, like I said. So I expect actually Bozinyan to come forward, you know, even finish him. Don't take this too serious that I'm picking him by TKO, because again, there's not much footage to analyze. But I do think Bozinyan could win this fight. Not gonna say should, but could win this fight. And at plus 120 dog, I think there's value there. From my calculations, I would say that Bozinyan could be like a minus 170 favorite. He's now at plus 120 dog, so there is value there in my opinion. I'm taking this bet, okay, but again, take this with a grain of salt. There's not too much footage for me to analyze, all right? And in terms of the skill set, like I said, guys, I think actually it's pretty even everywhere. You know, Bozinyan probably has a little bit better striking just because of the power, but the size is going to be the difference. I have an extra star here on my ratings for him because he's bigger and more powerful, stronger in the welterweight division. So like I said, this is probably going to be the difference, and this is why I'm betting Bozinyan. All right, on to the next fight. It's not in order here, guys, so I'm going to be talking about Daley versus Sabah Homasi. Probably you guys know Daley. Actually, probably you guys know both of these guys because they are quite famous. So Daley has a ridiculous experience. You know, this guy has over 50 fights, just nasty. And he's an excellent striker. He has a kickboxing background. He competes in kickboxing. So I'm giving pretty good rating for him in the striking part, especially offensively. When he starts landing, he's pretty dangerous, heavy-handed, creative with the kicks. He can go flying knees and stuff. So he's pretty dangerous. Defensively, he's tough to hit. He has a strong defense, but he doesn't counter much. And grappling, I've seen his Instagram. He put that he has a black belt now. From analyzing the videos, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't practice that much in fights. You know, he decides not to use it. But again, I'm not rating him well. Grappling has always been his kryptonite. But again, he's a tough guy. Same can be said about Homasi. Homasi in ATT, improving at a high pace. You know, this guy used to be like a brawler. Now he mixed in some takedowns, some decent grappling from his game. He's also a little bit more patient on the feet, but still he tends to brawl too much to my liking. But he has evolved. As you guys can see, you know, it's not too much difference in skill set. I'm giving better rating for Daley because of the experience and he makes less mistakes, but Homasi can surprise here. He's not afraid at all to fight. He's not afraid to being KO'd, so he's gonna come down. He's gonna throw down with Daley. And Daley doesn't back down from a brawl as well, you know, and Daley is now 38. So guys, I am not gonna say that this could go either way, but it's almost that. The bookies have the odds pretty right in my opinion. I'm gonna be going with Daley. I think it's the safest pick, him by KO, but I'm not gonna be betting this fight. I think it's a pretty weird fight to bet and to be very careful here because, like I said, could go. Daley should win, but Homasi can surprise, but you cannot trust too much Homasi because he brawls when he shouldn't brawl, you know. So I don't know. I'm staying away from this fight. Here are my comments. Here are my odds calculations, so you guys can have it. On to the next fight: Viktor Nemkov versus Karl Albrektsson. Another interesting one. I'm back and forth on this one, guys. I think if you guys have never seen this guy's fighting, Nemkov is a guy that throws mostly single strikes from a distance. He's pretty good everywhere, but it's nothing outstanding. His best. The best part of this game is his sambo wrestling. Has a pretty good technique there. He's also does a good job on the clinch. He's a quite long guy. He's 6'1" and has 78 inches, so he's pretty long. He's quite athletic, but he's no longer in his prime, in my opinion. You know, now he's 35 or 34. I think he's in a small decline. His brother, which is Vadim, actually is on the rise. So I don't know. I think he's a little bit being shunned in this regard, but still he's an excellent fighter. He has massive experience. Now Karl Albrektsson could be the dark horse here because this guy does pretty well in the overall game. He's a pretty tough guy, does a good job with the 1-2s, not bad wrestling, not that easy to take down. I'm rating him a little bit less than Nemkov here because he doesn't have that much experience. His wins are not against great guys. So I don't know. I think in this part he's a little bit behind. But again, Nemkov is not the most active guy. He tends to stay on the outside, try to land single strikes. You know, he finds himself in close fights. It's quite a weird fight to call, to be honest. I'm back and forth here. I went actually to. Oops, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, here it is. I went with Nemkov. I think he should be like a -130 favorite. And I would say Robertson is between +100 dog to +150 dog. So if you look at the lines, Robertson is exactly at +150 at this point. I took a small bet on Robertson. I think he has some chances to pull the upset here, even though I think Nemkov a little bit better overall. A little bit lands a little bit heavier, but Robertson can surprise, can come with more volume. He's younger, you know, he's 28, whereas Nemkov is 35. So he could surprise. These are my odds. These are the bets that I'll be taking. Feel free to pause here, take a look at it. All right. On to the next fight. Let me just change this because I messed up things here, guys. Give me a second. Let me fix this one. All right, I'm back here, guys. So between Matt Burnell versus Saul Rogers, very interesting fight, high-level fight. The way these guys match up, I think. You know, Burnell is a guy that is a little bit more famous. He's been known by his boxing combinations and his BJJ. He likes to push guys down, you know, corral guys, start teeing off his combinations. You know, I think he's going to try to do this against Rogers. Rogers is a guy that is, you know, faster, he's more athletic, he's longer. But he doesn't have that much technique on the feet. He's more like a 1-2 based fighter. He tends to make some small mistakes like overextending his punches, not really throwing enough jabs, enough volume. So he could do better in this regard. But guys, I'm going to evaluate this guy's pretty even. The reason is, like I said, Roger is he's faster, more athletic, you know. And I think he can compete pretty much with Burnell on the feet. On the ground, it's quite even on the offensive part. So I apologize here again. I think I copied this from a previous slides and I forgot to add it. So between while I'm adding, I'm going to be talking. So like I was saying, in the grappling department, either guy from top would have the advantage. I think Burnell's a little bit better from his back, you know, because he's a more technical BJJ player, but Rogers is not far behind. This guy's an excellent grappler himself. He's super dangerous from top. The reason these guys don't get 5 stars, they are not the outstanding wrestlers, even though both of them are very good wrestlers, you know. But from top, Rogers has a strong ground and pound game, quick passes, good chokes. Burnell also very creative, good passes, you know, very tight from top. From top, both of these guys are a nightmare on top of anyone, including themselves. On the defensive part, on the grappling, Burnell should have the small advantage, but I don't think gonna be much of a factor in this fight, because if Rogers is from top, he can deal with that. And the rest of the thing is pretty even, guys. Actually, Rogers has the size, like I said, the size and the speed, the power. I'm back and forth here. To be honest, I think it's nearly a pick 'em fight here. Burnell is a minus 250 favorite. I think the lines are pretty high on Burnell. I see Rogers as a strong dog here. He can compete, like I said, on the feet. I expect him be able to, like I'm putting here, to be able to, you know, stay on the outside using his athleticism and time the shot when he needs to. So it could be a very close fight. I'm going with Rogers. I took a bet on him at plus 170. I think it's a pretty good bet because I think he's a live dog here. So these are my comments, guys. Feel free to pause, take a look at this, and let me know if you have any comments. On to the next fight, J.J. Wilson versus Pedro Carvalho. I could classify this as striker versus grappler, even though Carvalho is a guy that has a pretty good, well-rounded game. But if you're gonna see Wilson's style, he wants to be the best grappler in Bellator. He's trying pretty hard to do it, and he's doing a good job. I think how these guys match up, Carvalho is a guy that does a better job on the striking. You know, I'm rating him quite, giving him some extra star here because he puts up good volumes. He has good straight shot, good knees up the middle. He has a good liver kick, you know, he's very fast with switch kick. He's a very good kicker, Carvalho. So I'm giving him a better rating here. Wilson on the offensive part is not too bad. He's not that great on the defensive, so I think Carvalho has the edge on the feet, but on the ground we would flip the script entirely. Wilson is the better wrestler. He's the better grappler, bigger guy, you know. So it's pretty even. If you guys gonna count the stars, it's exactly the same, but I think Wilson's grappling gonna be a problem for Carvalho. At least I don't think Carvalho gonna be able to strike as comfortably as he would like to, because Wilson gonna be shooting, taking his back. Even though, like I said, guys, Carvalho is a well-rounded guy. He's very good, escaping from the bottom. It's tough to submit this guy. It's tough to control this guy. So I'm back and forth there again. It's a great, high-level fight, a close fight. But I'm gonna be going with Wilson. I think he has more chances of getting the submission. Has a small chance for a knockout as well. He's not the best striker, but he has some good power. He's a pretty young, quite powerful guy. Carvalho is more like a good kicker than anything else, you know. So Carvalho has more chances on the decision, I could argue, you know, whereas Wilson has more chances to finish him. So I'm gonna be going with Wilson tentatively, but I'm putting also a small bet on Wilson. So these are my comments, and feel free to pause, take a look at this. I think it's worth your time. On to the next fight. Alfred Kashakian versus John De Jesus. This has been cancelled, so moving on. Veta Arteaga versus Desiree Yanez. Another excellent fight, very tough to call again. Guys, I'm back and forth there. I think gonna be lots of questions answered in this fight. Yanez, she's a girl that she's evolving quite nicely in her MMA game. She used to be quite sloppy striker. Actually, she used it to throw quite hard, but leave the chin up in the air to be hit. She got hit quite a bit in a combate fight, so then she tried to fix that a little bit, but still, she's not the best striker. Arteaga's a little bit better. You know, she fares better on the 1-2, has a little bit better dynamics, but I think Yanez has the advantage on the clinch and on the wrestling. She's quite tenacious with that. She clinches girls, holds girls on the cage, keeps shooting. I'm being quite, nice to her here, giving an extra star, because she's not the best wrestler, you know, and not an elite grappler or anything, but I think for a woman in the Bellator 125, she does a pretty good job. So I don't mean that offensively at all right? So she's getting 4 stars here, so I think she definitely has an advantage over Arteaga in this regard. But Arteaga, she's not easy to control. She has good escapes. She has been tested before against BJJ girls, so I could even get her an extra star here. And you guys would see that it's pretty even in terms of the star counting as well. So guys, back and forth here, very tough to call. I don't know, man. I went with Arteaga in the end. Maybe she's a small favorite, but I'm totally not confident here. Could easily go to dirty this, you know. The main question here is, can Arteaga avoid being controlled, start landing more shots? I think she can, but if Yanez can take her down, hold her down, you know, she's also evolving at an interesting pace, so Yanez has more chances to bring a different game to the table rather than Arteaga. So if you like the X factors, I would go Yanez. If you want more consistency, things that you have seen more on footage, more experience, even though she has more losses, I would go with Arteaga, right? So I went with experience this one, even though my head's telling me that, my intuition is telling me that Yanez will win, my logical brain is telling me that Arteaga is gonna win, so it's a tough one, alright? So feel free to pause here, take a look at things worth your time. Julia Budd versus Dayana Silva. Guys, to be honest, the biggest advantage of Bud on this fight is her fitness, her strength, her size, and her wrestling. Striking-wise, it's pretty even, to be honest. Bud is not a great striker. I think people overrate her a little bit. She comes in straight lines, doesn't pack much power. Chin is pretty up. Dayana is not the best as well. She has good leg kicks, good powerful punches, but it's mostly coming in hooks, you know, and she doesn't throw enough. She doesn't throw enough jabs. She doesn't have an effective game. So I'm rating them pretty poorly here. But it's quite even, as you guys can see. The grappling should go to Bud. Also, Bud has the better game plan. She has a size advantage, so she's a quite strong favorite. I think the lines are pretty off, to be honest. You know, I would favor Bud maybe 80%, which gives like a 5-1 favorite. 4-1 favorite, sorry. But Silva, I don't know, man. I think the lines are pretty off. So if you are forcing me to bet, Dayana Silva is like plus 700, which is ridiculous. So I don't know. I would put a small bet on Silva, but I think the best is to skip this fight at all. You know, I think Silva could win by decision. You know, in a boring fight, like landing more calf kicks, but not being able to hold her down because she's from Nova União, so she has the takedown defense ready, but she doesn't have the experience in her first fight in Bellator. So that's why I think the lines are so steep on Bud. So Bud's like, 9-1 favorite. I don't know, man. I think the best just to pass this one. On to the next fight, Ray Anderson versus let me check on this one. Dovletsan. Yagshimuradov. Anderson has the striking because he's taller, you know. He throws more volume. On the grappling part, this guy is a pretty good sambo wrestler. You know, he holds guys down. He's good on the ground and pound. He keeps shooting. He's not easy to take down at all, you know. So he's not the biggest light heavyweight, you know. He's 6 foot or 5'11", but this guy is pretty tough, you know. I'm back and forth here, guys. Gonna be the grappling and the, I could say maybe even the power of Yagshimuradov versus the consistency and the volume of Corey Anderson. Anderson obviously has the size on this one. So if you're gonna count the stars, Corey Anderson has one more, but I don't know, man. I think Yagshimuradov, because he has such a good grappling, and I don't think Corey Anderson gonna be able to do everything he wants in this fight. So because he's gonna be threatened by the grappling all the time, I'm gonna be going with Yagshimuradov here by decision. To me, the lines could vary a lot. If Anderson can stuff those takedowns, keep landing his 1-2 shots, you know, getting out of the way, he should be a very strong favorite. If Yagshimuradov can take him down, hold him down, you know, land a powerful overhand, take him down again, he would be the favorite. So it's back and forth here, guys. It's very tough to call. Could go either guy. I decided to take a bet in Yagshimuradov, so I didn't play it here, but I have a small bet on him, like you guys will see. Alright, this is my comments. Feel free to pause, take a look at it. I think it's worth your time. On to the main event, Vadim Nemkov versus Phil Davis. Guys, it's a little bit different than the stars here. I think it's easier to, not maybe not easier to see, but I can, on a scale from 1 to 10, rate this guy's better, because sometimes 3 stars, I don't have 3.5. So just a test here. Let me know if you guys like this better than the stars. So Vadim Nemkov, he has a small edge on the striking. Like I'm putting here, like it's one stick more. Defensive wise, it's pretty even. Nemkov is not the best defensive striker, not the best counter puncher, even though he does quite a good job. Phil Davis, same idea, you know. Both of these guys tough, good chins, you know. So it's pretty even. Even though this guy is a little bit better on the offensive striking, like throws a little bit more volume, kicks a little bit better. I can say that he kicks better, even though Davis has powerful kicks. He doesn't kick as much as, you know, not as fast and as much as he could. On the offensive, on the grappling, the script flips a little bit. Davis is the better grappler, the better wrestler. Even though Nemkov has a sambo background, pretty good guy. Everywhere, tough to take down, tough to hold down. Good offensive wrestling. But if a guy would hold him down, this guy is Davis. So Davis has the edge on this part. I like Nemkov. The game plan's a little bit better. Phil Davis, you know, always finds himself in some close fights. He could dominate the fights. He just sit back and sometimes even loses the fight. So this guy doesn't realize his full potential. On the size and the toughness, I think I'm giving one extra here for Davis because he's has a better chin, you know. So even though he doesn't pack that much power, he could hurt Nemkov, you know, because again, yeah, Nemkov is a tough guy, but I think Davis could hurt him a little bit. Nemkov has more accuracy. He could hurt Davis, but Davis has a better chin, so I don't know. It's quite even in this part, to be honest. In my odds, I think Davis should be a small favorite. I'm calling this because he's a better wrestler. If he brings his best game, which is there's a decent chance, you know, even though he has proven that he more often than not he doesn't bring his best strategy. I think there's a chance that Phil Davis will actually take up a page from their last fight and try to out-wrestle Nemkov. And if he keeps pushing and keeps out-grappling Nemkov, he has a small edge, you know. And like I said, you know, he's a pretty decent striker, you know. He's evolved that a little bit. Not bad 1-2s, good kicks, you know, even though Nemkov throws more volume. But again, guys, it's a pick a side, you know, it's literally a pick and fight, like I'm saying. I'm going to be going with Davis, especially because he's a plus 170 dog now. I think there's a value on Phil Davis, right? So, guys, just to finalize all of this, my bets that I'm taking, and guys, this is a gift to you guys. This is part of my Patreon $50 tier. You guys are seeing only Bellator 257 here because in respect to my patrons. So what determines the winning strategy, guys, is the amount that you guys put down on each fighter. You know, these are small amounts compared to the amount that I'm betting in the UFC when I'm more confident. But just so you guys can see who I'm betting and for the amount, right? And I'll be soon sharing the Patreon with you guys for those who want to support the channel. So like I said, I'm a small bet on Yagshimuradov. I'm putting like 0.2 units on him. Karl Albrektsson by decision. Karl Albrektsson not by decision, just a straight bet on him. 0.1 also at plus 150. Bozinyan plus Rogers. Like I said, no, both of these guys are underdogs. I think there's a good chance, not a good chance, a good chance that both of these guys cash. So if I can multiply that, I would have nearly plus 500. So I'm putting 0.1 unit there. Then I have a 0.25 on Bozinyan and Rogers. I'm doing some parlays with JJ and Wilson with Bozinyan and Rogers. Then I have Karl Albrektsson by decision plus 375. This is a very interesting bet. Phil Davis by decision plus 300.2. Also a very good bet. And I'm also parlaying JJ Wilson with Phil Davis. Right, so this is everything is small here because it's not an easy fight to call, an easy card to bet, and it's back and forth between these two. But I think there's pretty decent bets here. I'm risking 1.53 units of the amount, and then there's a good chance to cash quite interestingly here because the odds and the chances. All right, so this is what you guys would get in the $50 tier plus all of the events. Right, so I have. For boxing, I have for future UFC cards, you know, I have combination between the events. So if you're interested into that, here's my Patreon. So for $10, you guys have the early releases. So UFC 261, I'm soon gonna be uploading the card for future UFC events. So this makes sense because when you get the best odds when they are released, there is a big difference in the end of the month, in the end of the card. Take a look on the description. I have some comments into that if you're interested. Early releases plus prop bets. So what you guys see here, the prop betting that will be taken, the prop betting for UFC and all the events, and the $50 tier, which is line by line, like you guys saw here. Everything that I'm doing, right? So these are the closed bets. So just you guys can see the bets that I took. You know, I bet one on TNT, Bellator 256, UFC on ABC2, you know. So everything is here. It's all transparent. If I don't hide anything, if I take the losses, I take the losses. And so far, the profit, when I started this spreadsheet was 1.52, as you guys know from my previous spreadsheet, I have it's nearly 20%, 20 units profit per month. All right, guys. So this is what I wanted to share. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Until the next time, this is Vadim Nemkov, bring the best, most consistent and transparent betting strategy for you.